Hi, I'm Cynthia Sue Larson with RealityShifters.com, and I'm talking with you today about quantum jumps, an extraordinary science of happiness and prosperity. And actually, what I'll be talking about today is the science of instantaneous transformation. And this is something that is covered very extensively in this book through a series of chapters, starting with discussing the quantum age and the fact that we've reached a point in time when we are no longer working with the old logic of classical computers and also classical logic systems of either true or false, but we're moving into a whole new world of simultaneously coexisting possibilities. This is the way quantum computers are working now, using squids, which are not found in the ocean, but they're superconducting quantum interference devices using supercooled components that enable a quantum computer to actually run on qubits that can simultaneously hold two conditional states. So it can be true and false, for example. And this is very different than the classical computing that works with zeros and ones. Now, the big idea here that I discuss in the book Quantum Jumps is that now that we're thinking differently, it's much more than just a new computer that we're talking about. We are entering the world where we can now consider the fact that there are alternate histories. In fact, this book describes how the search for alternate histories in the cosmic background radiation is seeming to indicate that we live in a superimposed state of simultaneously coexisting possibilities. In other words, a holographic multiverse. So that's the big idea of the book. And the things that I think are most interesting for me personally in this book, the ideas that I think are so powerful, have to do with the fact that we are actually able to make changes based on our will. And this is an idea that American psychologist William James first proposed many years ago. He also, the same person, William James, is the person that came up with the concept that when you want a quality, you can act as if you already have it. Now, these concepts are coming into fruition hundreds of years later in the field of positive psychology and also in the fields of the placebo effect and also body language and what we do with our bodies and how the physical things we do have a mind-body-spirit effect on our entire being. So in the chapters in Quantum Jumps, for example, there are chapters, and there are lots of pictures in this book, which I'm very proud of. They're illustrations that show you things. But for example, if you go to the chapter that describes 17 different things you can do that give you a quantum jump start in life, hopefully you can see this illustration, but it's showing power poses. These are things that Harvard researcher Amy Cuddy has shown to be scientifically proven to improve your confidence. So if you're going into a meeting, rather than scrunching over a little iPad or an iPod or some tiny little device, which are scientifically proven to cause people to be less involved in their surroundings, less likely to ask questions, notice when there's a problem, or do anything proactive. If instead you're stretching, you're adopting a power pose of putting your hands on your hips, kicking your feet up on a table, that sort of thing, just basically taking more space. If you just do that for just a few moments before you enter an important meeting, an interview, or whatever it may be, you're going to feel, and this has been scientifically proven in laboratory research, you'll feel more confident, you'll feel more self-possessed. There are 17 similar tips to this that give you a quantum jump start in Chapter 5, and another 17 tips in Chapter 6 about quantum jumps in daily living. I love the real-life examples in this book as well, because it shows you that you can actually make a change as simple as deciding that you want to get out of bed when the morning is cold and you haven't turned the heat up in the house, for example. You can use your willpower to get out of bed. You can do similar leaps and quantum jumps to get yourself out of illness and all sorts of stuck conditions in your life. So this is a book I'm really super excited to be announcing. I think people are going to love it. I highly recommend it to everyone. And it's not just a book of fanciful thinking and far-out stories, although it does have some pretty remarkable first-hand accounts of extraordinary quantum jumps. It also contains lots of practical advice that has been as I said, laboratory tested and proven, that possibly could work in your life as well. So until next time, this is Cynthia Sue Larson with realityshifters.com, inviting you to keep asking, how good can it get? Thanks so much.